Remember when you used to hear the word Amazon and think about a rainforest? Ah, I miss those days. I think most people know that Amazon's not a good company, and if you don't know, maybe you should do a little bit of research on that. Now I'm going to talk about my personal journey of leaving Amazon. I know it's been a long time coming, but when I started my journey of digital minimalism in September of 2023, I was hyper fixated on hardware, meaning which phone I should use, which computer I should use, how I should distribute the time on my devices, but I didn't give much thought on the digital services I was using. I've always known Amazon to be a really crappy company, but I found it super convenient. One of those reasons it is convenient is that I'm disabled and I can't just get up and go when I want, where I want, because I can't drive. Yes, I can take public transport, but Amazon made it easy for me to order and get stuff easily delivered to my house, and I kind of just was content with that. I kind of made a consensus that, well, I need certain things, and I guess I will just do a deal with the devil and give my money to Amazon. Well, that's done now. I need to put friction in my life, and I need to find new ways on how to buy things, how to manage how I buy things, and find viable alternatives to reading. Now, one of the services I cut out last week when I decided to de-Google my life was Amazon Prime. I'm always trying to get out of a subscription model. I hate this business model, and Amazon Prime is no exception. Yes, it's convenient if you're shipping a lot of items to your house, but I found in the end I wasn't buying much on Amazon anymore. Maybe 1 or 2 things a month, and these things are not necessities. These were impulse purchases and was feeding into my shopping addiction, which my smartphone was also feeding into. So I've gotten rid of Amazon on all of my devices, and I unsubscribed from Amazon Prime. Now, if you can't do this, one thing you can do is make sure that you're the only one in your household subscribed to the service. There's no need to have everyone subscribe to Amazon Prime, giving them more money than they already have. So just talk with the other people in your family and maybe share an Amazon Prime account. Now, in order to get around not buying things, there are so many stores that offer free delivery to the store, and sometimes depending on the amount you've spent, you'll get free shipping to your house. Yes, this does mean you have to do a bit more research on the companies and the items that you want to buy. Not everything is in one place, but it does make you reflect a bit more on the things that you actually need. This has helped me tremendously from avoiding impulse shopping and just buying things for the sake of buying them and getting that dopamine hit. I've saved a ton of money already, and I've only unsubscribed for a week. Now, one of my biggest issues with Amazon has been Kindle. Not only the Kindle devices themselves, but the Kindle service, such as buying ebooks. Now, I'm somebody who cannot read traditional books anymore, and this makes me really sad. I'm very visually impaired, and I can only see text when it's large and has a black background, so this really limits on how I can read. So primarily, I rely a lot on ebooks because this enables me to really customize and be able to see the text that I'm reading. I've bought so many books through Amazon. In fact, I calculated it was 238 to be exact. Now, I never really thought about my books on Amazon. I thought that I purchased them and that I owned them, but it turns out I don't own them. Go figure. I know it's something I should have did a lot more research on, but I just never gave it a second thought because I was always using a Kindle device. But now I use multiple devices, and since I'm no longer using the Kindle application, I came to realize that I don't own my books and I can't use them everywhere I want to without going through some technical loopholes. When you buy a book on Amazon, there is something called DRM. This is known as digital rights management. Basically, you have a license to use that book through Amazon services. Amazon also has the right to remove that book if they no longer have a deal with that particular publisher or author, and they can make changes to the books as well without notifying you. So essentially, you're paying for a license to be able to read your books, and if you're okay with that, don't listen to this. But if you're somebody like me who wants to buy a book to support an author, but also own that book and go back and read it whenever you want, this can be quite aggravating. Yes, there are technical ways that you can remove the DRM, and you can convert the file into a different format to read on multiple devices. If you want to look into that, I highly suggest you do it because next week Amazon's going to remove the possibility for you to download your books to your computer, for example, and be able to easily convert those files. Gotta love Amazon. So I went through all of my books and I decided that I've read most of them and I don't want to keep them on this journey. And technically it was a bit difficult for me to try to convert those files. Again, I'm visually impaired. I can't spend hours and really look at small text, plugins, and do things like this every day. And I just found that it wasn't worth it. I'm not somebody who goes back to read a lot of books. There are some key self-help books that I do read regularly and try to implement in my life, but in general, most books that I read once and I'm done. I just remember what they're about and I don't get much pleasure rereading, especially fiction books, more than once. So on my book journey, I've decided to discover new ways to purchase ebooks, especially in the format EPUB. EPUB allows me to use the book across multiple devices, with multiple reading apps, and just be free with the books that I own. There are multiple services out there. Of course, you can get a lot of books through your library for free. There's a popular app called Libby, especially in the US. But if you're somebody like me who is not renting books from a library, I live in France, I generally like to read English books, I had to look for other alternatives. There is a way you can buy books through companies that do support publishers and, more importantly, authors and even bookshops. For example, there's a site called Hive in the UK, and they really support small bookshops and give that money back to those small bookshops. This is a great way to support and buy ebooks, but simultaneously support small bookshops. I've been using an app in France called Viblio. Viblio allows me to buy ebooks from multiple different places, French-based companies, a French-based app, and really allows me to give my money to a company based in France. Now, this is great because I can choose from many different suppliers and sellers. For example, I buy from my local grocery store who also happens to sell ebooks, and I can get great deals. I got a lot of books even for free on Viblio. I think I stocked up on 10 books, and I can choose books in English as well as an array of multiple different languages. So for those of you living in Europe, this could be a viable alternative to giving your money to Amazon. Now, besides just buying books, I like to be in the book realm of discovering new books, reading reviews, and one of those ways you can do that previously was Goodreads. But I found out recently that Goodreads is owned by Amazon, so I am no longer using Goodreads. But there is an alternative called Storygraph. Storygraph allows you to, again, look for different books. They also give AI recommendations for similar books in your interest, and for me, it allows me to track my books. Now that I'm using multiple different apps to read my books or different devices, this allows me to keep track where I'm at, percentage-wise of the book I'm reading, and also look up different books that could be interesting to me as well, without giving Amazon all of my data and information to study me more, to sell me more stuff. Now, going through all of the de-Googling, de-Amazoning, de-Appling, all of these removing big tech from my life has really given me a new release on life and really made me excited about using technology again. Sometimes when things are going terrible in the world, we feel that we have no power, but in fact, we have a lot more than we think. How we spend our money, our time, our attention, and our resources really matters. So if you really take the time and find sources for reading and entertainment and how you spend your money, this can make a large impact. Even though it might feel small, if all of us make these small changes and find different alternatives, this could really make the world a better place. We can have more competition, better prices, and just feel better about where we're putting our resources and time. Do you have any recommendations for different reading apps? Let me know down below. I'm always on the lookout for new opportunities to try different apps. And again, thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.